seconds for filming. There we go. All right.
Next up, Gary. Hi everyone, we're Team Gary, and since we're forward thinkers, we created today for you MySpace. Just kidding, we didn't actually create MySpace. We created what we call Twitter for Nerds, so when Caitlin
Wait, there's
is
nothing
ready,
in the repo.
there's nothing in the repo.
Okay.
Wow.
Because just go to our repo, don't go to like this. This is a submodule.
Should I be continuing to film?
It's fine.
Well, we'll cut it.
They're gonna know what the text isn't right. What's yours?
No,
Why are we in the
don't
dark?
pull it.
No.
Caitlin, whenever you're ready, we'll pull it up.
So we actually used a library called Twitter 4J, and in class it didn't work. But now it does.
Well, what changed? Turns out we just had to
Restart processing.
Yay.
Very simple solutions, kids.
That's what's up for Eric.
And now we have not installed the command line shortcut for processing.
There's a command line shortcut for it.
Yeah.
Open processing.
27
So,
seconds.
since we don't have the command line shortcuts,
My bad.
we're going to open processing, and then we're going to open
Wow.
in our Gary sketchbook, Twitter tree, and Twitter tree. Hey.
So
look
for
at
those
that.
of you that would like to follow along on your home machines, in our repo we provided specific instructions on how exactly to download the Twitter 4J library. We actually did most of the work for you, so all you have to do is move a couple of folders and then you'll be able to follow along with us as we do this in the video.
Wow.
So you simply click play, and
Should I be filming the screen?
A little bit.
and here comes our program. So you're first presented with the home screen. There are two options. You can either search or post. If you post, you can post onto Twitter, which we'll show you later. We'll focus on the search first. So Caitlin. So you're presented with the query. You can search for whatever term you'd like. Audience, any suggestions?
Jeff.
Jeff.
All right, we have one for Jeff.
Okay.
So
Just give it a second. So as you can see at the top, what we have a running queue of tweets that are constantly scrolling across the screen. Since we're doing this over a shoddy connection, it's moving kind of slowly, but on your machine, it'll move much faster than this.
It's very simple.
Yes. So that queue is constantly running and queuing and dequeuing those tweets. But Eric, you want to explain the next part over here?
sure, of course. So you have to first pick a sort method and a structure in which to display your tweets. So you can choose from between retweets and followers, or you can present your data in a binary tree or a heap, whether that be max heap or min heap.
Let's
So
do max heap.
No, let's do binary.
No, let's do max heap. Max heap looks cool.
it doesn't
Doesn't
matter.
And then we'll sort.
So here you can see an actual live update visualization of a max heap being created. We actually used a pre-order transversal in order to actually go through the nodes and add them. And as you can see, as more tweets are added, some of the nodes will update and you can watch them actually swap places in the tree.
Now if you hover over one of these circles, a little box will appear, and that's your info box. That contains the tweet itself and the number of retweets, followers, or favorites it has. The favorite method for a library doesn't work, so it'll just return 0. However, you can do this for every other circle, or for every circle, and it will present you with the tweet.
So we can see the user is Brenda Peters, and she says, "Oh my God, Attorney General Jeff Sessions just overturned a ruling allowing victims of domestic violence to seek asylum in the blank blank blank."
Yeah, so fun fact about the Twitter 4J library is that although it doesn't actually use character limits, in terms of the content of the tweet, it uses character limits. So, interesting factoid.
But here's another cool thing. If you don't like these tweets, right? No one likes Jeff Sessions. You just press enter
Interesting
and you'll get a
fact.
whole sword of new tweets.
Searching.
No, you press enter. And it'll resort it for you, and these will be all
Hold it.
different tweets.
Wow.
So as you can see, it's actively resorting the tweets in that max heap. But we all obviously have a lot more than just a max heap. If we go to search again, we can enter a new query.
Audience.
Audience, do you have any query suggestions?
No. Let's go.
Mr. Brown! Oh my gosh, what a good suggestion!
Wow.
Oops.
Mr. Brown.
Woo!
That was such a good idea.
So here you have a whole new set of cached tweets that you can then sort in any way that you choose. So
let's sort by followers and binary tree. And it goes off the screen a bit, but it's a binary tree.
So we actually cut off the level of the binary tree so that it wouldn't get too crazy and have too many overlaps, which it might anyways. As you can see, as it goes through our cached tweets for Mr. Brown, it is actively updating the binary tree and adding new nodes in their correct positions. So yeah.
Oh, one feature that we could implement in the future is allowing you to pick the node, the root node of the binary tree and have it sort based on a number that you pick rather than the first tweet that the Twitter API queries.
For sure. Also something that we tried to implement but we ran out of time for was, now that when we can hover over a tweet and view it, our goal was to then be able to click on the tweet and then you could be able to respond to it on our project's Twitter account, which we might want to fix somehow. But you could respond to that tweet. We obviously didn't get enough time to implement that Easter egg. We found it to be quite difficult. But yeah, so that's the essence of our project.
And we can show them an in heap.
Another thing that we couldn't do that wasn't our fault was sort by location, because many people don't have their location services on, so the tweets that they make are not geotagged.
Which is good. You shouldn't allow apps to access your private information like where you are all the time, because user privacy is a good thing.
So what we wanted to do was sort by the closest tweets to you and the farthest tweets from you, and that would have been a very good use of max heap and min heap.
We also wanted to sort by favorites, like the little hearts they give you, but that didn't work out either because every time you return 0, and I'm pretty sure all those tweets had more than 0 favorites, so obviously there's something wrong with that within the library itself, but we couldn't implement that. We can show them min heap now.
So as you can see, as nodes are being added to the tree, they will be swapped with those that are of lower value. There are a lot of tweets who have either 0 retweets or 0 followers. There are a lot of lonely people out there on Twitter, but we can still hover over them and still view their tweets regardless.
Oh, this one says cat shaming is my job.
Oh, interesting.
Because the way that Twitter API works is that when we query a search term, it returns the latest tweets for that tweet. So those tweets aren't necessarily popular and won't necessarily have retweets or favorites or such.
And one of the problems we actually encountered when using this Twitter API was a phenomenon known as rate limiting. So we are not the only ones out there in the world with a developer's account for Twitter. There are lots of people with those same developer's account for Twitter and for lots of different applications. And so for those of them trying to make projects or organize information like we are, you have to issue queries, which is what your search term is called. So Twitter and other companies will limit the amount of queries that you can make in a certain amount of time so that their servers don't crash. So for Twitter, it's 180 queries per every 15 minutes, but we found that by caching tweets and issuing a query request that can return 100 tweets at a time, we are more than covered to suit this project well. Show them the
Oh. Oh, we have to post now. Okay. So now we're gonna go to the home page.
And now we can post onto our Twitter. So, Caitlin, why don't you pull up our Twitter account?
So we're gonna go onto Chrome. Oh, thanks. How do I? Okay. Twitter.com.
So our Twitter account is called APCS.
Gary.
Oh, GaryAPCS.
GaryAPCS.
Drop us a like or a follow on our Twitter account.
So here is our feed.
We had a couple of test runs,
Yeah.
as you can see, featuring Ricky Lynn. So we can actually add something to our Twitter and you'll see it updated live.
So, any suggestions? Anything you want us to tweet?
Let's do a hashtag. What are some
Hashtag Jeff.
Hashtag.
Okay.
Wait, no, let's do something that like we can search later in our project and actually then see. Yeah.
How about we do Mr. Brown? Or no, actually that's too common.
Let's do.
Hashtag Brown McCall.
Okay, yeah, let's do hashtag Brown McCall.
We love hashtag.
Yes.
Yeah. And you just push enter to post. Take you back to the home screen. And then you can check it out. I refreshed twitter.com. And as you can see, there.
Ta-da!
Yay! And now we're going to try and look for it in our search. Yes, sorry. Yes. Enter. What is it? Okay, let's search again. Okay, so search.
And there's your tweet right up there.
Oh, look, it's floating around. Okay, let's sort it. Should be first.
So it looks like there's only one tweet out there in the world right now showing love for Mr. Brown. I think as an APCS community, we can show a lot more love for Mr. Brown. If it wants to pop up in our max heap, you will enter. It's very shy today.
Just click. Yeah. Alright, this part's gonna get cut out.
Okay. Well, that didn't quite work. I'm not really sure why. It worked for everything else. But that's it. That's our project. Are there any
Wow.
questions from the audience?
No? Fantastic.
No.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Just 1, 2, 3, up and down. Yay!
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll get that.
Who's gonna edit the video here? Thank you.
Oh, we didn't show them our picture.
It's okay. They saw it.
I zoomed in.
You just shake your hand.
Let's shake the hand.
Oh, oh. Oh.
This is great.
All right.